An update tonight on a proposed 50% increase in Butte water rates. Good evening, I'm Jess Antonio. Patrice Parks is off tonight. Many residents worried how they'll pay the higher rates. The city went back to the drawing board to come up with an alternative plan. NBC Montana's Alex Sachs has this report. I'm here at the Lewis and Clark Humane Society in Helena, where 161 Malamutes were saved and brought here from an alleged puppy mill in Jefferson City, Montana.
These animals were in a very remote area of Montana, very unsocialized. So they have not really had, hands on them. They're not leash trained. They've never had a collar on them. They're not used to contact.
Wendy Hergenrader of the Humane Society of the United States says this may be the largest puppy mill that Montana has ever seen. Gina Wiest, the executive director of the Lewis and Clark Humane Society, stated that the man responsible for the dogs, Mike Chininski, presented himself online as a reputable breeder with show dogs, when in reality these Malamutes had little food, water, or care.
And that's just it, is that, a lot of times you don't know. If you look on his website or his Facebook, he's got absolutely lovely, outstanding show dogs. But you know what? You get a picture off of anything that would show that
the pens were filthy that they were living in, very little water or food or both. So it was not a good situation.
PetSmart Charities heard about the mistreated dogs and wanted to contribute. They sent 2 big rigs from Arizona full of supplies to help the Humane Society care for the dogs.
And they have sent kennels and dog houses and food bowls and food and leashes and everything that you could possibly imagine.
Because the dogs have never been trained or cared for, the Humane Society says it will take time to rehabilitate them. But those now caring for them believe these dogs will fully recover.
It can be challenging, but they'll progress and get better as people work with them.
Dogs are probably one of the most resilient animals. You can see tremendous abuse situations, and yet the spirit of the animal is okay. And I think these guys are going to be okay. I really feel that within my gut.
Hergenrader thinks this case points out why Montana needs stricter rules regarding large breeding operations of dogs.
This is a prime example of why the state of Montana needs a state law to regulate large breeding facilities. And so we're hoping next session that the state of Montana will support that.
Reporting in Helena, Jess Antonio, NBC Montana. Need help with your taxes? Need your grass cut? Need to get your dog groomed? Well, you can easily schedule appointments to do all those things and much more with a company that has a global reach and just happens to be located right here in the heart of downtown Bozeman.
We currently are in almost 2,000 cities across the United States and Canada since our launch, a little over a year and a half ago when we launched Schedulicity. We've already scheduled over 5 million appointments, and most of those appointments are booked after business hours.
Schedulicity allows both consumers and businesses to save time by scheduling appointments online at Schedulicity.com rather than over the phone. The growth this business has seen since its launch is staggering, with an appointment being booked every 5 seconds using the site.
And one of the numbers that really seems to turn people's heads is we are now at a run rate of close to $450 million of service-based commerce being facilitated through our portal at Schedulicity.
It's a win for the client because they can book anytime they want and just not when I'm available to talk on the phone, which is rare anyway during tax season. It's a win for my employees because they're not inundated with phone calls all day and they can be far more efficient.
Even in tough economic times, the Bozeman Company is helping small businesses across the country see boosts in revenue and customers.
We provide a very, very powerful return on investment for a small business that's a service professional. We are seeing the businesses on Schedulicity making more money, booking more appointments, getting new customers, selling more products.
We are looking at hiring 1 to 2 more people this next year. So we hired 2 additional people last year, so we're just expanding, and truthfully it's very attributable to Schedulicity. It's not the greatest economy right now, and we're booming.
While most web-based companies like Schedulicity would be found in Silicon Valley or New York, Natuno is happy to call Bozeman home.
We're proud of the fact that we're in Bozeman, Montana, and I think that it's a testament to where this town is right now, to the fact that we were able to find all of the people with the skill sets and the talents that we needed.
Reporting in Bozeman, Jess Antonio, NBC Montana. Emerson Olson, or Emmy, turned 13 years old today. While most girls her age are worried about boys and makeup, Emmy has a lot more on her plate. She was diagnosed with a brain tumor in 2009, and after 66 weeks of chemotherapy, was finally experiencing a normal childhood again. But after a recent doctor's visit, she found out she has more fighting to do.
In May and June, she began having headaches again, and we went back to Denver last week, and it was confirmed that her tumor has started to grow again. And so now we are looking at a reoccurrence.
The bad news came just days before Emmy's birthday, causing friends and community members to decide they needed to make it a special one. A surprise birthday was planned that included a limo ride to Aspire Salon for hair and nails to be done, and a trip to Winslow Studios Photography for a photo shoot, all for free.
You could tell she was shocked. She thought she was going to babysit. So when she arrived and they all popped out and said, "Hi, Emmy," and then the limo, complete shock.
My mom's friend Kelly, I like babysitting her kids, so I thought I was babysitting, and I went there, and then they jumped out and said surprise, and they're like, whoa! And then I turned around and the limo pulled up, and I was like, nuh-uh.
Emmy called today the best birthday of her life, and that's thanks in part to the generous donations from local businesses and organizations who wanted to ensure that today was a special one.
I think it's better than probably my 16th birthday that I'm gonna have. This is awesome! This is so awesome. I'm just so excited. I can't even talk. All I can do is smile.
Just turning 13 is a hard age, and naturally they question themselves at this age, so then to have this all piled on top of it, you know, she's obviously questioning herself even more. So for her to have a day that she feels special and beautiful, so loved, so supported, and so beautiful is everything to a parent.
Being able to enjoy such a great day and feel like a normal 13-year-old meant the world to Emmy.
It means a lot because I just had some bad news, and like I was really sad. I was afraid I wasn't gonna be happy for my birthday, but they like did all this for me, and I was really happy that I could have something fun.
Reporting in Bozeman, Jess Antonio, NBC Montana.
It's like I'm a model.
Well, a 73-year-old woman died after a two-vehicle collision in Three Forks last night. The Gallatin County Sheriff's Office says Marion Davis was headed toward downtown Three Forks when she crashed head-on into an oncoming car on a curve. The other driver was injured and taken to the hospital. Montana Highway Patrol is investigating the cause of the accident. Bozeman got its first taste of flooding for 2011 as the Bozeman Creek began pouring onto Mendenhall today. And while city officials are attempting to use a diversion channel just south of town, the overflow continues.
I don't really want to see it 80 yet because that sudden temperature is going to really bring it down. We can just hope and pray that it'll moderate and we can get through this.
While sandbags are the usual tool used to combat flooding and prevent homes and businesses from filling with water, high demand means there has been a shortage in the area.
As soon as we get sandbags in, they're going out the door. There seems to be a shortage in town between the stores. We brought over probably 5 pallets in the last 24 hours.
The first vendor I called this morning, they said they were totally out.
At Rouse and Mendenhall, where the flooding was most prominent, some business owners were taking as many precautions as necessary, worried about how the water could damage their stores.
I'm concerned that my equipment's going to be damaged and my business is going to suffer for it. You know, this has happened before, although this is the worst that I remember.
I did receive a call before I could get down here this morning to check things from our doctor's office. And of course, they were concerned about their patients' records. And so we've all been in there making provisions for them to get the records off of the lower files.
In a normal year, Banta says they'll sell around 75 sandbags in May and June combined. This month they've already sold over 500, with more on the way. With sandbags being so affordable and easy, it's always better to be on the safe side.
Don't wait until it's too late. If you see the water rising, you never know if it's going to go higher. It's better safe than sorry for the small investment of some sandbags.
Reporting in Bozeman, Jess Antonio, NBC Montana. Patrice, tonight's City Commission meeting focused on putting a permanent cap on how many medical marijuana dispensaries can operate within the city of Bozeman. Originally, the commission set the number at 20, but because there are currently 21 in town, felt one additional dispensary was allowable. While the commission had discussed this topic a year ago, City Attorney Greg Sullivan believed that rather than making the cap a yearly discussion, it should become permanent.
The planning department, the police department, and in conjunction with me, we've analyzed how things have worked over the past year, and given the uncertainties of medical marijuana, given the passage of Senate Bill 423, our recommendation right now is to make the cap permanent.
Due to that uncertainty with the decision on SB 423 looming, the commission felt it was best to put the cap at 21 for another year. In accordance with SB 423, Mayor Kraus had some concern about one part of the law that would allow law enforcement officials to partake in warrantless and unannounced searches of anywhere medical marijuana is cultivated.
Any place where marijuana is cultivated, manufactured, or stored, that would apply to anybody that's got a card, anybody that was complying with the law that had the 3 plants that are allowed under 423. That would apply to a private residence. Anything. I just want to go on the record as saying inspecting people's homes without a warrant is unacceptable.
A final topic looked at on medical marijuana was it's the only business in town that does not allow a transfer of a business license if sold, something that the commission will discuss further at another meeting. Reporting in the newsroom, Jess Antonio, NBC Montana.